Thoughts tonight are on reasons why people do things. I can understand perfectly why people do what they do. Sometimes it's to protect themselves. Sometimes it's through malice. Sometimes it's through guilt. And sometimes it's through ignorance. To be ignorant of your wrongdoing is often rejected as a thought entirely, and therefore responded to with malice. You hate what the person has said or done. Malice is wanting power over someone and using your actions to do it. Where there is no good intention, there is only malice. I find it quite reasonable to feel, not think, that a woman who suffers because of past intrinsic worth, past belief, past thought, where they've had to heal by denying, having been hurt so much, and in doing so rejecting hurt entirely, even from the self. Love is often cruel. Kindness is often cruel. People mistake the truth as something unkind and cruel. Words of truth should hurt you. That's the only way you know it's the truth. Lies and made up things just fall off the back like rain. I don't care what people say and call me at the moment, because I've been called everything possible in the last 74 days. I've been called everything, and I've gone through everything, and I'm sitting here fine, recalling each event and thinking, what a strange lesson life's given me. I don't think people like hearing the truth. I don't think people can accept it at all sometimes. Or maybe they do accept it, but don't want it, because it's dirty, it's blackened, and it's powerful to do damage. When people speak to me wrongly, I speak to them wrongly, but only so I'm on their wavelength, shall we say. So I mirror them, and they call me nuts, when actually it's them, and this is what I'm like most of the time. No one knows a person in solitude. And when a person sees a thinker walking down the street with a head bowed, they think, oh, he must be sad. It's not true. Thinking is very strenuous, and it's an exercise one should do every day, I think, and not enough people do. So to be self-righteous is very wrong. To be righteous is very right. To be pansophical is really wrong, because only God's pansophical. I'm not all-knowing. In fact, I like to say all I know is that I know nothing at all, but at least I know how to tell the fucking truth. At least I know when something is wrong. And God thank that I know that I am being wronged. If I didn't know I was being wronged, it would have crushed me, because I wouldn't know that what was happening to me shouldn't have been happening. This is the last 74 days I'm on about, nothing else. Truth really does hurt. It hurts people so much they will convince themselves that their pain is worthy and therefore righteous, when actually it's refusing to accept guilt and being self-righteous. People, I think, mistake my sense of humour for madness. I can be very fucking funny, and I can do very surreal comedy, and just speaking, you know, a little bit of a wind-up, like when I have to speak to my father, and he's convinced, he's absolutely convinced in his small, narrow mind that he's pansophical, when actually he's got a below average emotional intelligence at least. But he's a very clever man, he's very good at maths, very good at remembering jokes, very good at making people laugh, but even better at making people cry. My friends, I don't have very many, that I call close friends, because it's not possible to spread oneself amongst thousands. Many acquaintances and many people know me, but few friends. I shan't mention the names because most of them hate me for some strange reason all of a sudden, because they believe things even though the evidence dictates otherwise, such as being released from a hospital after being assessed with and having no mental illness, and coming out of a prison cell because it was a false allegation, and usually GBH causes at least a little tiny mark. And it's terrifying, and the only person who was terrified on that night was me. Terrified of being treated so badly, being called mad when actually I wasn't at all. To have a history of depression and anxiety because of shit I was surrounded by is not what I consider mental illness. I think it's a rational response, and I got over it a long time ago. I was put on tablets for an illness I didn't have, that I said at the time, and they made me ill, and they were addictive, and took 10 years of my life basically. and made me into a wreck. And I escaped that last September. I escaped it. And I found myself again. I found myself, and I think I was too much for people. I got my voice back, which was a reason I went on them. I wasn't allowed to speak about abuse. Maybe it wasn't understood that it was abuse because it was so normalised. But I've had a very good life. Terrible, but good. And I've had lots of fun memories and done very funny things. I've done all sorts. I love cooking, did it professionally. Sandwich shops. I've written books. Wrote my first book at 11. A bloody good book as well. Could have been published then. Had my first poem published about that time as well. Based on Tennyson, The Lady of Shalott, if I remember correctly. I loved school, I loved learning, but it was muddled with hate. And so that's probably the reason I can deal with the hate now. It was terrible. Worse than most have. Simply because I was different and too clever.